The fluorescent light over my workbench had been flickering for a week, and I stood under it that Thursday with a clipboard in my hand and a lie half written on it. A young woman had dropped her car off that morning, a tired silver sedan with 190,000 miles, a cracked dashboard, and 2 booster seats buckled in the back. She had told me, almost apologizing for taking my time, that it was making a noise underneath and that money was tight, and could I please just tell her honestly what was wrong. What was wrong was a loose heat shield, 10 minutes and a clamp, maybe $6 in parts. But the rent on the building was due, and a slow month sat behind me like a debt, and I knew she would never know the difference if I wrote down struts and a wheel bearing and a brake job. $400. She would scrape it together because she trusted the man in the blue coveralls, the way people trust a doctor in a white coat. I had done it before. Smaller things. A filter that did not need changing. A coolant flush nobody asked for. I told myself everyone in the trade rounded up, that a shop had to eat, that she would spend the money on something foolish anyway. I clicked the pen and started to write the first line of the estimate, and my hands stopped. Above the toolbox, screwed into the cinder block where it had hung since before I was tall enough to reach it, was a little hand-lettered board my father had painted. An honest wait, it said, and an honest day. He had run this garage for 31 years with grease under his nails and a reputation cleaner than the floor. When I was a boy and we shortchanged no one even when we could have, I asked him once why it mattered so much when the customer would never find out. He wiped his hands on the red rag he always carried, and he told me, "Son, somebody always finds out. He sees every estimate I write." And then he said the words I had spent 20 years pretending I had forgotten. "Lying lips are abomination to the Lord, but they that deal truly are his delight." It was Proverbs 12, verse 22. Abomination. It is a heavy word, and I had made it small. I had told myself a padded bill was just business, just survival, and standing there under that flickering light, I finally let the verse say what it meant. That the God who saw my father's hands also saw mine, hovering over a lie that would take bread from a woman with 2 children and call it an honest day's work. And the other half cut deeper than the first. They that deal truly are his delight. I had been so busy chasing $400 that I had forgotten a man could be a delight to God over a $6 clamp. That there was a kind of wealth in my reach that no padded invoice could ever buy. I put the clipboard down on the counter, face down, and I went back out to the bay. I clamped the heat shield, test drove the sedan around the block until the rattle was gone, and I wiped the windshield while I was at it. When she came back that afternoon, bracing herself in the doorway the way people do when they are expecting bad news, I told her the truth. A loose shield, tightened, no charge. Call it a slow Thursday. She did not understand at first, and then she did, and her eyes filled, and she pressed the back of her wrist to her mouth and told me her husband used to keep the cars running, before the cancer, and she never knew who she could trust with them now. I told her she could trust me, and for the first time in a long while, it was completely true. I did not get rich that day. The rent was still due, and the light still flickered, and I figured it out the way honest men have always figured it out. A little at a time, with a clear conscience. But I drove home lighter than I had in years. I had spent so long believing that telling the truth was something I could not afford, when all along it was the only thing I owned that no one could ever take. My father knew it, standing in that same bay with the same red rag. A man is not measured by what he can get away with. He is measured by whether the one who sees every estimate can call him his delight.